Thank you all for listening and watching my videos. Please subscribe and like my channel Master Coolitz. Hoping that you will not skip my ads. It's a big help for me by not skipping it. Thank you so much. Dragon Shadow. The Rise.
As of this moment, everyone stared in shock. It was as if they had forgotten to breathe. Their eyes were fixed on the scene in front of them, and it bore it into their minds.
The Devil Barrier puppet was of good quality, was not damaged by a single punch. Where did Zane Martel have the nerve to say such words?
Everyone present was well aware of the strength and quality of the Devil Barrier puppet. Zane Martel's punch had almost destroyed the Devil Barrier puppet. This was far beyond their imagination. Then Zane Martel strode over. Before the Devil Barrier puppet regained its mobility, he suddenly raised his finger and struck out a few rows of sword energy. The puppet was cut into pieces of different sizes, revealing a fist-sized blue bead.
It's time to end this.
The bead was transparent and it contained a mass of mist-like gas. The moment Katie saw the bead, Katie shouted,
"Larry Shaw, stay away from the bead, quick."
However, the bead started to make cracking noises. Cracks the size of a man's hair began to appear on the blue bead and grew in number. The bead exploded, releasing an earth-shattering spiritual pressure. Like an invisible knife, it shot into the space between Zane Martel's eyebrows as if it wanted to destroy his spirit. The remnant force continued to expand outwards. Even though they were separated by the array formation, it affected Katie and others outside it. They felt the spiritual pressure and a splitting headache. Their faces changed greatly. They kept covering their heads and screamed.
Yeah, what a terrifying mental pressure. How is this possible?
Someone screamed.
Oh no, Larry Shaw.
Although Aaron didn't look great, he burst out laughing.
Ha ha ha. You're only at the intermediate level. Even if you don't die from this, if you bear this mental energy pressure, you'll become a fool. See? This is the consequence of offending me. I don't care what talent you have, but you will die.
Katie rebuked Aaron angrily.
Aaron, how dare you put the willpower pearl of the extraordinary level inside? Are you crazy? I will report it to Father Emperor and punish you.
Katie was so angry that she almost wanted to take action. However, in the middle of the mental storm, Zane Martel frowned slightly and did not feel much discomfort. His face changed slightly.
So this is the mental pressure of the extraordinary level. It might work on others, but it's useless on me.
As soon as he finished speaking, a bright light flashed in Zane Martel's eyes. Suddenly, an even stronger spiritual pressure burst out. The powerful pressure stirred up a hurricane and swept away the other party. The others were affected by the power. Their faces distorted in pain and turned pale.
How is this pressure possible? Did Larry Shaw reach the extraordinary level's willpower at the intermediate level? Just who is he?
One's level of willpower was the same as one's cultivation level. It was just that before one reached the advanced level, one's willpower was too weak and insignificant. Before reaching the advanced level, due to his weak willpower, he'd been called a mortal level. Once he broke through to the advanced level, his willpower would strengthen and reach the extraordinary level. Above the extraordinary level were the transcendent level, entry soul level, wandering soul level, blue soul level, celestial soul level, saint soul level, great soul level, and chaotic level. One's willpower was not as strong as one's cultivation level. It could not be improved through cultivation. Instead, it would become more robust as one's strength increased. It made sense that a practitioner of the intermediate level couldn't have the willpower of the extraordinary level, but Zane Martel did. Because of the Dragon Prison, he had ways to enhance his willpower.
Extraordinary level. To think that it would be in the extraordinary level.
Aaron fell to the ground, limp and powerless. At this point, he couldn't stop Zane Martel from entering the Dark Wolf Hall.
Bring on the rest of the tests.
Zane Martel withdrew his spiritual pressure, turned around and said as he looked at the frightened crowd,
No, Larry Shaw, you're too strong. Are you a free warrior? I'm beginning to doubt you.
She went up to him in person.
Larry Shaw, welcome. You have passed the most difficult test and become a member of the Dark Wolf Hall.
Fewer than 10 had passed this test since establishing the Dark Wolf Hall. Suddenly, Zane Martel looked at Aaron, who was sitting paralyzed on the ground, and said with a wicked smile,
Oh dear son, why are you sitting on the ground? Come on and let me hug you.
With this, Zane Martel opened his arms and planned to hug Aaron. However, this action frightened Aaron. He quickly stepped back, distanced himself from Zane Martel, and asked cautiously,
What do you want?
I don't want to do anything. Didn't you say that if I passed the test, you would call me Dad? Are you going back on your words? Hurry up. Your father is waiting for you. Hurry up and call me Dad.
Zane Martel teased.
Yes, Aaron, you are the dignified royal of Dark Wolf Hall. You must do what you promise. Call Larry Shaw, Dad.
This scene was so funny that even the onlookers couldn't help laughing out loud.
You.
Although he didn't want to admit it, he did say such a thing. Back then, he refused to believe that Zane Martel would pass the test, but the test proved that Zane Martel has a celestial body.
All right, we have a long way to go. Larry Shaw, Katie, let's wait and see.
Aaron knew that he was in the wrong, so he left with the others, leaving a burst of laughter. Katie led Zane Martel, who had passed the test, away and arranged for his residence. Someone knocked on Zane Martel's door 2 days later. When Zane Martel opened the door, he saw Katie. Zane Martel glanced at Katie. She was dressed boldly and unrestrainedly, and her curves could be seen. She had a unique scent belonging only to the Demon Clan. Her muscles were perfect. He might even see her bare skin under her clothes from certain angles. Katie was excited when she saw Zane Martel.
Let's go, Larry Shaw. I'll show you Sky Spring Land.
She handed a milk-white token to Zane Martel, which contained the engravings of the word Sky Spring. The runes were swimming on the surface.
The $20 million I promised you is reloaded into the token. You can use it right away.
As they walked, they talked. After a while, they came to a small building with the words Wolf Spring written on the top of it. Although the Wolf Spring Palace was not big, many came and went. It was dark inside with more than a dozen identical transmission formations.
The Sky Spring Land is not in Dark Wolf Hall. Instead, it's in the center of the Palm State in the east, enjoying it with the other significant forces. The requirement for entering is a Sky Spring token and a sufficient amount of energy points. Once you enter, it automatically deducts 100,000 energy points. If you stay for more than 1 day, the value will be deducted.
What if I don't have enough energy?
The token will automatically send you out if you don't have enough. If you don't want to be sent out during a critical moment, make sure you have sufficient energy inside. It's a crystal for 1 energy point.
Zane Martel nodded, finally understanding the mechanics. The token in their hands vibrated, and a massive energy was absorbed by the transmission formation. Then the formation lit up. The scene in front of him changed rapidly. About 2 minutes later, it finally stopped. It was dark around them, and there were also a lot of people coming and going. As he walked toward the bright spot in front of him, the scene in front of him captured Zane Martel's attention. It was picturesque scenery. Mists swirled in the air. The entire valley was made up of 4 mountains of varying heights. Thick water vapor floated above the lush mountain peaks. It was quiet. There was almost no noise. Only a few chirps could be heard from time to time. From time to time, a few disciples of the Dark Wolf Hall would fly above them. The water vapor slowly rose, causing the humidity to rise. They looked down along the source of the water vapor. In the center of the 4 peaks, there was a huge lake. The water mist on the lake was thicker. Even though Zane Martel did not understand the power of water, he could sense that it was everywhere. A place with abundant vital energy made a good place to cultivate and comprehend the ways of the power of nature.
This spring is called the Sky Spring, which is under the jurisdiction of our Dark Wolf Hall. Therefore, it is called the Wolf Spring, or just Sky Spring.
Spring.
Zane Martel nodded. Before he came here, he had searched for information, so he knew a little about Sky Spring Land. The Sky Spring Land had 10 Sky Springs, which were managed by different sects and forces. There were 3 Sky Springs under the name of the Goodwill Sect, while Zan Sect and Tan Sect had 2 each. Dark Wolf Hall had only 1. As for the remaining 2 Sky Springs, they were without an owner and were not under the control of any forces.
This Sky Spring is a good place to comprehend the power of the water. If you want to comprehend other powers of nature, you must go somewhere else. The 10 Sky Springs are not entirely isolated. If you follow this path, you'll be able to find other Sky Springs, but you have to be careful. It is fine if no one owns it, but if you cultivate in the Sky Spring of the 3 primary forces, you may be targeted.
I see.
Zane Martel knew that the four forces were not allowed to monopolize the Sky Spring, despite being in charge of Sure Sky Springs so that Eastern Palm could grow stronger. Therefore, martial artists from other forces or free martial artists with tokens could enter and use the Sky Springs. However, there were disciples of many forces everywhere, so it was easy for them to be discovered and targeted.
The caves on these mountain peaks are all developed and used for cultivation. Amongst them, the tallest one has the most vital energy, but there were only more than 100 caves and almost no empty seats. You have to be quick once a seat is empty.
She pointed to the highest mountain peak and explained. Zane Martel nodded and took note. Katie then introduced the basic knowledge of the Sky Spring land to Zane Martel, and the two of them began to cultivate separately. 10 minutes later, Zane Martel found an empty cave on the second mountain peak and began cultivating immediately.
Bo Thompson, Elemental, come out.
Zane Martel patted the spirit cultivation ring and two black and white figures immediately flew out.
Master, please go ahead.
Bo Thompson's eyes sparkled as she spoke. In the past year, both Bo Thompson and Elemental had made significant progress. Bo Thompson had already reached the 8th stage of the intermediate level and possessed considerable strength. With Zane Martel's help, Elemental was able to condense an essence pill half a year ago. Now, it was at the 5th stage of the intermediate level.
I'm about to begin my preparations to break through to the advanced level. The two of you are here to protect me. No matter what happens, don't let anyone in.
Yes, sir.
In an instant, one black and one white figure flashed and hid. Zane Martel let out a long sigh and said with a faint smile,
I've suppressed the vital energy in my body for more than half a year. I can finally break through to the advanced level.
In fact, the vital energy in Zane Martel's body had long been enough to break through. He had so much that it was overflowing. He could break through at any time as long as he wanted. However, breaking through to the advanced level required an enormous amount of vital energy. The amount of vital energy within his body was insufficient, and he had additional help. The Sky Spring land was perfectly in line with Zane Martel's plan. Zane Martel started preparing the vital energy-breaking spiritual spring water that can reduce the pain in the process of refining pills and increase the chances of breaking through. Zane Martel picked up the 5 bottles of vital energy-breaking spiritual spring water that he had obtained from Yellow Rock City's Miller and drank it in one gulp. He then picked up another bottle that was filled with colorful pills. It was the Celestial Life Pill. Zane Martel had taken all of the Celestial Life Pill and many other items while at Mysterious Citadel. During the 6 months of his recovery, Zane Martel used those medicinal ingredients to refine a batch of medicinal pills that he consumed every day. Ever since he had consumed enough Celestial Life Pill, Zane Martel's comprehension ability seemed to have increased by quite a bit. It seemed that he could communicate between heaven and earth, but it wasn't all that great. But if he told others about this situation, others would think he was mad. Communication with heaven and earth? How was that possible?
I've waited long enough. Let's begin.
Zane Martel raised his head and swallowed all the medicinal pills in the bottle. He circulated the devouring dragon technique in his body and began to close his eyes and attempt a breakthrough. A majestic aura surged from Zane Martel's body, releasing a frightening pressure. If someone could see through his body now, it would be easy to find that the vital energy stored in his limbs and bones was rushing to his energy center. In his energy center, the Sky Thunder tree had grown a lot, and golden stripes began to appear on its branches and leaves. The dark, silvery essence pill floated in the air and spun slowly. Every time it moves, a silvery ripple will be released from the essence pill. These ripples were none other than vital energy. Zane Martel frowned. The process of turning an essence pill into vital energy is painful, but every advanced level cultivator must experience it. Half an hour later, his essence pill dissolved and was only half of its original size. His energy center was filled with vital energy as he frantically compressed it. After another hour, the essence pill in his energy center was finally transformed into vital energy and completely disappeared. At this moment, Zane Martel's clothes were drenched in sweat because of the unbearable pain.
All right, it's about to start now.
He opened his eyes, which were shining with a sharp light. Then he closed his eyes. Thunder rolled around his body, roaring incessantly. The devouring dragon technique was circulating within Zane Martel's body. This unique, mysterious martial arts technique had once brought him unexpected benefits. Under his body's full-force operation, the dragon devouring seemed to have also undergone a shocking change. In the dragon prison, wild winds blew and howled. Streaks of lightning the size of an adult crashed down from the starry sky above his head. The sounds were deafening and created huge pits on the ground. The messy thunder streaks even hit the huge devouring dragon bone in the air. At this moment, the devouring dragon bone sensed Zane Martel was about to break through, or the lightning's effect had kicked in. The bones started swaying in the wind. An earth-shaking heavenly dragon roar erupted from Zane Martel's body and spread throughout the entire Waterspring Valley, ringing in everyone's ears. The ground buzzed and started shaking violently.
Oh no, young master will surely attract others' attention by creating such a huge momentum. Elementals, stay here and guard the young master. I will go outside. No matter what happens, you can't let anyone disturb the young master.
Bo Thompson's eyebrows were tightly knitted. She was worried and walked to the entrance of the cave. Bo Thompson sat by the entrance of the cave feeling highly anxious. At that moment, everyone who heard the dragon's roar, regardless of whether they were in the advanced level or intermediate level, was greatly shocked.
What's going on? Why is there a dragon's roar? Could it be from someone in the Dark Wolf Hall or the Demon Clan under Dragon Clan?
That's impossible. The Dragon Clan is an ancient demonic beast. How could they be here? Should we go take a look?
Let's go.
These people were driven by curiosity and immediately began to approach the cave where Zane Martel was.
What is that sound? A dragon roar? Could something happen to an innate spirit treasure in the Skyspring land?
I think so. It is said that some powerful innate spirit treasures will cause abnormal natural phenomena when they are born. I must get it before anyone does.
Some people showed their greed. Soon, dozens of people gathered in front of the cave entrance where Zane Martel was. Some of them were in the intermediate level, while others were in the advanced level. Almost all of these people were disciples of the Dark Wolf Hall. Most of them were merely curious and came to take a look. However, there were a small number of people who harbored malicious intentions.
Hey, I heard the dragon roar coming from inside. What's in there?
Please return, everyone. My young master was cultivating and caused that to happen earlier. There's nothing else inside.
Cultivating? I don't believe that. What kind of cultivation method could cause such a big commotion? I think it's the birth of an innate spirit treasure. Your young master is hiding inside and waiting for it. Once the time is ripe, he plans to claim the innate spirit treasure as his own, right?
This caused a stir. Immediately, almost everyone was agitated. The atmosphere was tense, crackling with unspoken threats and the promise of impending conflict.
Yes, he's right. It must be the birth of an innate spirit treasure.
Since the innate spirit treasure appears in the Waterspring, it should belong to everyone. Tell your young master to come out. Otherwise, we won't be polite.
The situation slowly got out of control. Hostility simmered in the air, and a fight was about to break out. The first speaker, a muscular figure with several stripes on his cheeks, stood up. He was unmistakably a member of the Demon Clan.
Be good and give way to us to enter the cave. Otherwise, don't blame me, Cater, for not showing a lady mercy.
Cater's gaze swept across Bo Thompson's curves, a sinister smile playing on his lips. Zane Martel was at a critical moment in his breakthrough. An interruption now could mean derangement, injuries, or even death for him. Bo Thompson knew she couldn't let them in.
If you want to go inside, you have to get through me first.
With a swoosh, pink flames were released. Although Bo Thompson was only on the 8th level of the intermediate level, she radiated a strong sense of oppression.
Oh, you belong to the Fox Clan among the Demon Clan. That's rare. Well, I'll catch you and then go inside to get the treasure.
As he spoke, Cater suddenly moved. The power of a first-level, advanced-level warrior was fully displayed as he launched a series of palm prints at Bo Thompson's body. Bo Thompson's body suddenly exploded and turned into a cloud of smoke.
Sorcery. Damn it. I hate the sorcery of the Fox Clan the most. It's too difficult to deal with. I'll expose you.
Cater tangled with Bo Thompson's sorcery skills, frustration evident in his every move. Meanwhile, Zane Martel remained completely unaware of the chaos outside the cave. Within the cave, the vital energy in his energy center surged like a stormy wave, spinning and gathering intensely. Zane Martel's energy and blood seemed to be mobilized, his temperature gradually rising. The devouring dragon technique was in full action, resonating with the devouring dragon bone in the dragon prison. Another brighter and more oppressive dragon roar rang out. A ray of light seemed to be released from the devouring dragon bone, appearing directly in Zane Martel's energy center and quickly merging with the surrounding vital energy. The light continued to reorganize and form. The sound grew louder and louder, the movements more intense. The ground shook violently, dark clouds covering the sky above the water spring. Terrifying thunder and lightning darted across the sky, tearing it apart. It seemed as if the sky itself was collapsing.
What's going on? How could there be such an abnormal natural phenomenon?
It's an innate spirit treasure. Get out of my way.
Cater became even more excited, certain of his guesses. Bo Thompson struggled to hold on. Outmatched, she fought back, trying her best to stall for time. Within the cave, the ball of light in Zane Martel's energy center glowed. It had absorbed all of his vital energy instantly, yet it was still insufficient.
Isn't it enough? Not even with so much vital energy? No. If I keep going on like this, my martial spirit might very well fail to condense. I have to think of a way.
Zane Martel closed his eyes, observing the situation in his energy center, growing more anxious. The amount of vital energy stored was 5 or 6 times that of others, yet it still wasn't enough. The devouring dragon technique activated to its maximum, a strange phenomenon appeared. A terrifying devouring force erupted from Zane Martel's body, rolling in all directions. Vital energy within 100 miles radius, including the entire water spring, was triggered. In an instant, the vital energy was attracted to Zane Martel, rapidly gathering and entering his body. But would it be enough? Or would the forces arrayed against him prove too much to overcome? The answer remained shrouded in the gathering storm.